Rabbi Judith HaLevy, President of the Board of Rabbis of Southern California, Rabbi of the Malibu Jewish Center and Synagogue, a Reconstructionist congregation in Malibu, California.
Our congregation really reflects the entire 47% intermarried rate. We represent this as the Reconstructionist congregation, but really we serve the entire area as a liberal congregation along the coast. And I have to say that first and foremost, it's not special programs. It's the welcoming attitude towards families. We are dealing with the Jewish community that is, not the Jewish community that we would like to have. I have a 50s image of my own family gathered around the perfect Jewish family. I don't see those families very often. Everyone comes with a different story. So primarily, we don't have a special outreach, we are outreach. And that's the foundation of the synagogue. In a special program, I'm very proud of a program we started this year called I'm Jewish Too, which is our new preschool program for kids 4 and 5 years old who attend a preschool someplace else and who would like to still have a Shabbat. We have a Jewish preschool, and we have a Tot Shabbat on Friday morning at 11. We have an additional program from 2 to 4 where children of mixed marriages come and celebrate Shabbat. More than the service, they make challah, they are celebrating Hanukkah, so that we are reaching out to these families to come with their young children. Having said that, everything we do in that synagogue is really about making interfaith couples happy. I have to say that most of the time, I don't really know after a while if part of a family is not Jewish, because they are so integrated into the synagogue as a whole. I'd like to take up on the theme of the bar and bat mitzvah process, which really provides a doorway for the entire family to participate. And we start that process when the kids are really 9 and 10 and they begin to take on an extra day of the week and they begin to do their own studies for the bar and bat mitzvah. And we face the challenge of, okay, some of these grandparents are not going to be Jewish. And how do we integrate the families? How do we integrate all of the grandparents? And how does the family make a decision in where their support of this bar bat mitzvah process is? And we do everything possible to make sure that the parents are part of a study group. And in the end, it's not just about bringing in the interfaith family, it's about what the Hartman Institute calls thickening everybody's Judaism. Because when you come right down to it, we are of a generation that many of our congregants did not get a solid Jewish education. And while on one hand, we're looking at a huge rise in the rate of intermarriage, we are really also looking at, I believe, a Jewish Renaissance. And these two things are not contradictory. So that both of us, I'm sure, and we are on the same side on this one, attempt to open the tent door as far as possible and then to educate the people inside of the tent. And I don't make a lot of distinction in a class of, I'm often shocked when someone says to me, you know, I never actually really converted. Or, I'm a convert. I so accept this as a Jewish family that I have no distinction between you're a convert, you're not a convert.
Right. Share with us a bit about your perspective on officiating at interfaith marriages, what restrictions, if any, you have, and what that means in terms of your interfaith outreach.
If I can answer that question, I have been a rabbi for 19 and a half years, not quite 20 yet. And from the beginning, I've been willing to officiate at an interfaith marriage because I am part of a Reconstructionist movement, which has allowed me from the beginning to make that decision. Not always true in the other movements. Gave me a little more freedom. Again, just like the bar bat mitzvah, everything is an individual process. I don't do a lot of weddings. If I do 10 a year, that's a lot. And each time I spend 3 or 4 counseling sessions with a couple. So I'm careful about who I take on for a wedding to begin with. Once that happens, I'm willing to say, if I want them in there at the bar bat mitzvah process, I better be willing to marry them, because this is the only chance I have. I believe that the holiness of being married under a chuppah is a lasting life impression, and that if I don't do this, they will go get married in a civil manner. I don't think the other answer is to find a priest. I think it is usually the Jewish ritual or nothing. And then I ask the normal questions. Will you raise your children in a Jewish home? People tell you yes. What is my guarantee? I won't know till there's a baby. If it's an older couple, I am more lenient. And by that time, the couple knows who they are and what they are, and they may not be willing to make a religious over the bridge. That takes its own counseling of finding what is your sense of self and how will you hold your family together. Often there are children and it's a blended marriage. What do you do in these circumstances? And I've got a lot of stories about it, but I feel I'm running about a 90% rate. There are a few people I haven't heard from, but sometimes I just did a wedding 15 years ago and I hadn't seen these people. And I turned around 2 Fridays ago at the tot, I'm Jewish too. There was a 3-year-old and there was the mom. And I had totally lost contact with these people. She says, do you remember me? You did my wedding. We've always kept our Jewishness.